Hey, look at that. We already have some people on here. That's cool. Um, Welcome everybody. I want to just for people who are going to watch this after the live, um, I'm just going to kind of there are some specific things I covered this week in my videos. I figured it was a good time to go live. I've made some pretty big discoveries. I was literally sitting in a Yard House restaurant, and I've been looking for John Bonham for a long time. And a Weird Al video came on, and I just saw his mustache, and it hit me how similar it was to John Bonham. So I was with my wife. I didn't want to start researching, so I texted myself John Bonham Weird Al, and then went home and all the discoveries hit me. And at the same time, just sitting there waiting for our food, Tom Petty came on. And I've been looking for Tom Petty forever, trying to see if there was facial recognition that would hit with just looking at pictures. And nothing ever hit. I've looked at his picture dozens of times, but I never looked at interviews. I never looked at music videos or anything. And this music video came on in the Yard House that I was at, and I just saw it right away. I could see in his eyes. I was like, it helped that I had literally seen the movie The Hangover probably within the past week. Just sometimes I have stuff on in the background when I'm researching, and The Hangover was on, and I just saw it. I was like, Tom Petty is at Helms. And then once I started comparing pictures, like the mouth, it was a dead giveaway. So I did John Bonham is Weird Al. I did Tom Petty is Ed Helms. I did a video how Matthew McConaughey is now playing Gavin Newsom, and then there was another video I did this week that was like, oh, just today I did, and I can't take credit for this one because it was an awesome subscriber that put it in my Facebook subscriber area, and she said, anyone ever think George Clooney and Cary Grant look similar? And immediately, and that's how my facial recognition stuff, I either see it or I don't. And I immediately saw it, and then just start. I don't know if you guys have seen that video yet, but I just put out, and I know it's so unbelievable that George Clooney could have been Cary Grant, but if you haven't seen the video, watch the video. And these guys are, I don't know if they're shapeshifters, I don't know if they're humans that tapped into whatever it is that can help us live longer, whether it's the Abrina Brome or the Fountain of Youth or healing or frequencies or med beds. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're fallen angels. I don't know if they're fallen angel children. I don't know if they're vampires. But I 100% know that there are beings here that can survive much longer than 100 years. Much longer. So anyway, I just wanted to give intro to what I planned on talking about a little today, and I'm always just an open book to whatever you guys want to hear about, wherever the chat takes us. I'm cool to go. And don't mind my flamingo back there. There's no symbolism. It's just a pool flamingo. So anyway, yeah, let me check out the chat a little bit, guys, and thank you everyone for joining. I thought there'd be more because I advertised it on my Facebook and my Instagram too. I figured some more people would hop on, but David Kushner is Heath Ledger. I'll have to look into that. I'm fairly certain that Heath Ledger, although I've started to wonder because I did a video on Heath Ledger being the Sons of Anarchy guy. I always forget his name, Charlie Hunnam. And I was pretty sure on that. The mannerisms, the facial markings, the way he sits, the way he walks, the way he even does things in interviews. But there's a guy on TikTok lately that looks exactly like him. And they've been using the platforms, like Robin Williams is on the platform. Tupac is on the platforms posting. Just Tupac is Akil the MC from Jurassic 5. So it wouldn't surprise me if Heath Ledger was on the platforms, but I'm pretty sure he faked his death and became Charlie Hunnam. Pretty sure. If you haven't seen that video I did, I think it's pretty convincing. I would say that's one I'm not 100% on, though. Some of them I'm 100%, like George Clooney being Cary Grant, I'm 100%. And that's filling up a little more, maybe because I came on a little early. I always thought Drew Barrymore looked like Betty Davis. I can't picture Betty Davis. Betty Davis. Betty Davis. Is that one of the Golden Girls? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on Betty Davis. I'll look into it though. Mental note: Betty Davis and Drew Barrymore. Hey, what's up from the UK, Caroline? Thanks for joining. Oh, awesome! You got the apricot kernels. Yeah, I eat like 5 a day. Just pop them in. They're bitter, but whatever. Everyone should be eating apricot kernels, guys. And I'm not going to say too much about them because they tend to censor that stuff. But if you have not researched the health benefits specifically to the old C word, that you get if you smoke too much, you know what I'm saying? Research apricot kernels with the C word, but don't do it on Google. Do it on the search browser Yandex. They will actually give you some real information. Yeah, just straight out of the bag, my friend. What's the Disney tie to A113 with adrenochrome? Well, I don't think it was. Well, yeah, I guess Disney and Pixar are the same. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, the truth in plain sight. I don't know if you've ever seen, I did a video with it, but someone did it before me. They found all the A113 is the numerical term for adrenochrome. It's the like medical term for it. They all have, everything has like a numerical and what am I trying to say? Anyway, there's a numerical match, and its adrenochrome is A113, and they put it in all their Pixar movies. It's like license plates and this and that, a whole bunch of different things. They claim it's like the studio room number where they do the drawings, but that's just ridiculous. Anyone who's even half awake knows that they're just telling us the truth in plain sight with that. And that's when I go back to what I said in the beginning for some of you guys that weren't here. When I'm sure that there's an ability for either humans to live much longer than we are told, or there's something else, or they're fallen angels or fallen angel children or whatever they are. But I do think there's a good chance of Brome. I don't like to say the word too much. I do think there's a chance that's involved, because you can even research how young blood, as they term it, can rejuvenate your cells and your skin and literally make you younger. So I don't know if they're all just pounding the Brome, but I think there's something more to it, because some of these people go from old to not just young, but even like smaller, like where they can shapeshift. There's some shapeshifting going on for sure. I can't see if it's Spiro or Spira, just because my eyes are so bad right now. Spiro, I think. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your kindness so much. And I don't do it for money. I mean, yes, it is my job now. So like full admission, like I do get paid for posting, but I was posting for a year before I ever made $1, because it just burned in me to help people see all the lies we've been told. Like I didn't believe in God for 42 years because I thought I was living on a globe spinning in outer space and evolved from a chimp. So that's the biggest reason I do it, is because I know there are billions of other people out there like me that didn't realize we lived in a spiritual realm created by an amazing, heavenly Father. And for me, that I was never a fearful person. Like I was a pretty brave guy, like macho, whatever, but I was afraid of flying. I was terribly afraid of flying because I was afraid of dying. Now I have no fear of dying because I know what we are. We're spiritual beings. We're not just living in the luckiest little time period of billions of years where we're conscious, but we're pure consciousness. We're going to leave this body and still be conscious. or spirits. Thanks, HW. I appreciate it. Good evening, Carol. Good evening. I like good evening. I never say it because it sounds so formal. I used to always say to my class, like my classes, like, good morning, guys, morning. But it's, like the more I've seen good morning, like I try to say grand rising now because you don't want to be mourning, if you know what I mean. Kermit, you just found my channel and flat makes sense. That is awesome. I'm to the point where I don't do a ton of flat earth videos anymore. That's all I did because it was so important to me. But I feel like I've done, and it still is so important to me. But I don't believe the earth is flat. Like I know the earth is flat. Just like I don't believe in God. And like this is where people get this mistaken. I don't believe in God because I know God exists. I know we're in a spiritual realm created by an almighty, like infinite, all-knowing being. I don't believe because I know. But yeah, it's flat Earth will take the blinders all the way off because before I got there, I was deceived in a few different directions. And once you realize how big the lie is, that they're literally lying to us from day one of being birthed, and you realize how many people are in on it. People always say, there's no way so many people would have to be on it. Yeah, they are. Not everyone at NASA's in on it, but people take blood oaths. And the risk of them sharing information is literally cutting their throat and pulling out their tongue. So yeah, if you knew a secret, you're not going to share that if you signed a blood oath saying that you would get your throat cut out. Yeah, karma, I would say all the Duggars are in the club, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, HW. Yeah, I'm doing my best, you guys. And, people are always, I get criticism that I do too many celebrity things, but I go where my gifts are, and I clearly have a facial recognition gift. I think I have a gift of, and I'm saying this with humility, I'm not I'm gifted. We all have gifts. Some of my gifts just align with creating content. I think I have an ability to create a story, like a true story, where you start at the beginning of my videos and by the end, it all makes sense. And I'm not just showing randomness. I'm trying to build a story. So by the end of the video, what I already know, you guys come to know as well. It's not just, oh, maybe he's right on this. It's I'm trying to provide evidence, research, things that you can go check yourself. All the pictures I use, you guys, some people have accused me of adding birthmarks and dots. I'm every picture I use is public domain. You guys can go find the ones I use and see the birthmarks are there. I'm not adding birthmarks to anything. I've never the only way I've ever manipulated a picture is lightness and darkness and contrast to try to bring out some of the markings, but sure as heck not adding any. Tommy Lee Jones, Stevie Ray Vaughan blew your mind. Yeah, I can't take credit for that one. My friend Josh, and I don't know if he figured that one out, but my friend Josh first showed me that one. And there's a handful where I can't take credit. Where I think I can take credit is there was a lot of speculation and good speculation of a lot of these people being dead and becoming other people. But I think I truly, when I came along, figured out a way to prove it with the birthmarks, and that just came natural to me. For 20 years, I studied video of my athletes, one frame at a time, trying to see how they could lift more weight or how they could throw a shot put or discus farther, literally, frame by frame by frame, how could their heel touch the ground a little different, so I just developed an eye for finding small nuances and things, and it just came natural to me when I started learning about celebrity fake deaths to be oh, let's find some skin markings to figure this out and prove it. Thanks, Lucas. Yeah, I'm so glad you guys, like I enjoy these lives, because it's like therapeutic for me because I don't have really many people. I have surface level stuff I can talk about with a few different people in my personal life, but it's very surface level, and it's short lived. I can't just like ramble on and on like I can on here. So I come on here, just because it's literally therapeutic for me. Am I 100% on Rob Skiba? I wouldn't say 100%. I would say 90%. And I don't know if you're referring to when I was on last time. I talked about there's a you can, if you go on the search browser Yandex, just type in Rob Skiba Freemason, and there's a great video that comes up, and you see him do all the 33s and all the hand symbols and all the stuff, and you can make up your own mind. But Rob was buddies with David Weiss, who I 100% am sure is no good, and all that whole crew, the Austin Whitsitt, the Sean Hibbler. There's the flat Earth movement. I fully believe was started inorganically. Now maybe there were people who organically figured it out, but I think the movement of it was pushed by the powers that be, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah, Harriet. Rob Skiba won, my opinion. Like I said, I'm 90% sure on this, not 100, because I did a video speculating who he might be, but not 100%. But in my opinion, he's fully alive. Definitely didn't die from COVID, and he was like a young, healthy guy. Um, yeah, go on Yandex. Write this down. Go on Yandex. Just type in Rob Skiba is a Freemason, and it'll pop up. Uh, yeah, dude, Passion Prince. Was that you that did that today? So I don't know if I can't remember. There were so many names in the subscriber area and things, but yeah, someone posted that in my subscriber area today that Ernest Jim Varney resembles John Cena. And man, yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it on my own, but I see it, 1,000%, 1,000%. And I was saying this I messaged this. I was just watching a wrestling documentary the other day, and I was watching it. And guys, listen, I was in the strength and conditioning. I don't want to say business, but like strength and conditioning was my passion. It was my job for 20 years. I know what humans are capable of. I know what very strong humans are capable of. And I'm watching Hulk Hogan like body slam Andre the Giant with ease. Like I'm watching John Cena pick people up and like twirl them, and like I don't think they're demonstrating what human strength is. Even like the strongest men in the world, I don't think they're demonstrating human strength. That to me is something else. I don't know if it's, like I said in the beginning, I don't know if it's fallen angel. I don't know if it's the offspring of them. Maybe the Nephilim now just aren't giants, other than Andre the Giant's pretty freaking big. So are a lot of these other basketball players and giants. There's still giants among us. They're just not as big as they used to be. The Bible doesn't teach reincarnation, so you obviously are not a follower of Jesus. Well, one, I disagree, because there is an instance of reincarnation in the Bible. But two, I'm not talking about reincarnation. I'm not saying anything about reincarnation. I'm saying these people don't die. I'm saying they're the same person. I'm not saying they're clones. I'm not saying they're reincarnated. I'm saying they are literally the same being. So sorry, Space Ghost, you are barking up the wrong tree, my friend. And what is it? John the Baptist was literally, I'm drawing a blank on it at the moment. There's reincarnation in the Bible. They just don't specifically talk about it. But if you connect the dots, Oh, yeah. Yeah. I do feel like I've been here before. And my friend, the Bible has been, I'm a big Bible believer, but not today's Bibles. They've been very manipulated, very manipulated. Get yourself a good old 1641 Bible. But, and listen, my friend, I've been reading the Bible for 2 years, so I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything, but I disagree. I do think reincarnation is real. I 1,000% think it is. The Bible also says the expanse instead of firmament. If they can remove the word firmament, I think they can manipulate if reincarnation's real. Don't you think? If they can change the word alleluia to hallelujah, maybe some of the things in the Bible aren't accurate. And like I said, I'm a big believer in the Bible. I really am. I think if you look at everything through a biblical sense, it makes sense. But I challenge you to read some old Bibles and, yeah, I'll leave it at that. How do we see the world we're living in wearing the glasses from They Live? I mean, I think I do that a little bit, honestly. I think if you're living right, if you're not sinning a lot, if you're eating healthy, if you're fasting, if you're praying, I think you see things that most people don't. And I think it's how I create a lot of my content. Is I do my absolute best to just try to live right. And am I perfect? No. Do I make mistakes? Absolutely. Am I wrong? Yes. But I try to be a good person. I try to be kind to people. I'm always honest. And I'm not doing a lot wrong. Like I said, none of us are perfect though, but I'm just doing my best. And I think when you're living life right, or at least as close as possible as you can, you'll see things, especially if you ask. Pray and fast and ask, and you will have the glasses on, my friend. Tracy, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words, and I always appreciate the appreciation, guys. Armando, thank you. Yeah. And so hilarious timing. So there were 333 people in here. It just went down to 332. I actually, and I'll tell you guys a story because there might be some Facebook people in here, but so I appreciate that people see that I'm just well intentioned and I'm sincere and I'm authentic and I just am an open book. I always am. And I've got a bunch of awesome, amazing subscribers in Facebook. I haven't seen any in here. Maybe there are, but the all aura, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Yeah, there were 333 people in here. That's but I'm getting to a story about that. So I have a bunch of Facebook subscribers, just like I got a bunch of members here on YouTube, and they're awesome. And I encourage people to question everyone and everything, including myself. And I'm an open book. I have no problem being questioned. And I'll be fully honest. I have an email in it. I've had an email for 20 years with, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to have 1,000 emails, but there's 33 at the end of it. It's like a form of my name and 33 at the end of it. And I've had that since like 2002, maybe, or 2004. 20 years before I ever even heard of what a Freemason was or what I ever even like knew 33 was a bad thing, because 3 has been my favorite number my entire life. Well, maybe not my entire life, but until my youngest brother was born, because I am the oldest of 3 brothers. I helped raise my brothers. It was like my mom and my 3 brothers and I, and my brothers like meant the world to me. So 3 was just like at the forefront of my life. if my brothers ever like, if we were ever playing rock, paper, scissors, and they wanted something, and I'd be like, okay, I'll put a number behind my back, like whichever one of you guesses. They always knew it was the number 3. So like, I have had this attachment to the number 3 my entire life. And in my Facebook area, subscriber area today, a woman who I've messaged with quite a bit put in there, like, because she happened to see that my email or my account was my name with 33 at the end of it, and just like, without really like coming out and asking me, she just like put it in there and was like, explain this, and like, you got a lot of explaining to do. I'm like, well, I mean, I showed receipts that I've had that email for 20 years. I literally showed an email from my mom sending me wedding pictures in like 2005 or 2006. And, like, I come on here and I've got nothing to hide. Yes, I do have 33 at the end of my email, but I've had that for 20 years. And my name's also Tyler. And Tyler, that I just found out like 4 months ago, is literally the name of the guard at the front that like guards the Masons' door in their meetings or something like that. I don't even know. So like, I was telling my subscribers today, because I felt the need to defend myself, because I don't want anyone to. One of the biggest reasons I do what I do is because when I woke up, I didn't know where to go to find truth. It's like, the internet's lying to me. People on the news are lying. Everyone's lying. How do I get truth? And it was so disconcerting and uncomfortable and discombobulating. And once I kind of like got my bearings back, I was like, I want to be a place where people can go and just feel good about, this dude's not lying to us. He just seems like a sincere guy that cares. I was a teacher for 20 years. Like, I just have a caring heart. That was what I had taught, because I wanted kids to learn to like find confidence through strength and conditioning, like I did. Find your physical strength so you can find your mental strength. So long story short is like, one, I think God has a sense of humor, and I think part of my name and me having my favorite number 3 was like foreshadowing, or like a little like nod or joke. I get that stuff all the time. Like, the amount of coincidences or synchronicities I have with finding posts or just different things is like unbelievable to me, where I truly think God has a sense of humor. And I think part of that was that. But I just wanted to mention that, because I don't know if that just happened today with me in my Facebook group, but I mention it just because you guys, a few of you in here, said you appreciate me and that I just seem sincere, and I am. And what I told my subscriber group too is that no Mason would ever be a teacher for 20 years, because they know a lot of the secrets of the world, and they would have to be like teaching all lies. And like, none of these Masonic shills would hide in a high school PE gym class as a teacher for 20 years, biding their time to go then deceive the world with crazy posts. Like, it just, like, when you think about it logically, it just, the logic isn't there. But I understand, because I'm a not trusting person anymore, unfortunately, because I've been burned by friends that I had for my whole life. I've been burned by people that when I woke up, I thought befriended me for the right reasons, but they were literally, I think, befriending me as I was gaining a following to try to like be my handlers. And once I figured that out, like Flat Earth Dave, who I see right there, who is one of those people who befriended me to try to be a handler. But then I figured it out and I exposed him, just like I exposed Sean Hibbler and Austin Whitsid and Alex Jones. That was the biggest straw that kind of broke the camel's back, with me seeing the truth in David Weiss being a Masonic shill, who, by the way, had a podcast with one of the Rothschilds. David Weiss had a podcast with a Rothschild. But that was the final straw for me, was watching Dave converse with Alex Jones. They pretended they didn't know each other when I had heard them on podcast before together. So that was when I decided to out Dave instead of continuing to be buddies with him. Patrick says, please check the song Call Me Al by Paul Simon. It's actually Call Me L. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Wow. It's from a vampire living through. I'm going to screenshot that. That's awesome. So and thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. That's an awesome tidbit. I just, last night, excuse me, there's a vampire movie. Oh, it's like Abe Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter, and the movie's about how basically vampires are taking over the United States, and Abe Lincoln's trying to hunt them. And maybe there's true action. Maybe he actually did get assassinated. Like, all these assassinations I say are fake, but maybe Abe did, because maybe he was on to this fallen angel vampire agenda. I don't know that to be true or not, because they do kind of try to paint him in a good light, and I wouldn't think they would do that. But I need to I need to watch that movie. It's basically about, like I said, vampires taking over the United States. So it's very interesting. Let's see. What else, guys? Lizard. I don't have thoughts on the Buddy Holly thing. Only I'll look into it. Oops. I will look into it, but I can picture Buddy Holly. I can't think of Hank Marvin. I don't have Hank Marvin's face like readily available in my mind. Agent D, this is a good question. Has any celebrity responded to your videos on them? Joe Rogan would probably play dumb like he doesn't know Crowley is. So I've had two people respond. One, Uncle Pappy. He doesn't say my name, but he literally says conspiracy videos are being made about me. I was the only one making conspiracy videos about him. So Robin Williams, aka Uncle Pappy. And then for any of you who know the Tinfoil Hat podcast, Sam Tripoli, he tried to get me on the podcast as I exposed him for being Francis Bacon. So if you haven't seen that video, Sam Tripoli in the Tinfoil Hat podcast, he has this guy on and they're talking about different things. And he's never mentioned me ever in all of the time of all his podcasts and as long as I've been around. And all of a sudden he mentions me in this same episode where they're talking about Francis Bacon. And I'm not super familiar with Francis Bacon, but I look him up and right away I see he looks exactly like Sam Tripoli. Chinless, I appreciate the contribution. I don't know William Lane Craig. So I no information on that. I apologize, but thank you. I appreciate it. So back to the Sam Tripoli thing. He literally looks just like him. I make a video then finding out that like triple A, so his name is Tripoli, triple A is a grade of bacon. So his name is just a grade of bacon, triple A, triple E, Francis Bacon, who started Freemasonry. So Sam Tripoli is hundreds of years old, if not thousands. And, they did he tried to get me on and I was like, no freaking way I'm coming on there. Like, not coming on a Vampires podcast. I don't go on Masonic podcast anymore. So he tried to get me on. And then I just the other day saw that he in his I cannot stand his boy Johnny on there. The guy is just like a sniveling little butt kisser of Sam and such a liar. They're both such gatekeeping liars. They're as bad as Joe Rogan. Biggest gatekeeping liars ever. But they did, I don't know, he does some it's not his talk show, but he does something where they watch videos and talk about it. It's like doom scrolling or something like that. But they did one on me for a half hour and they're just mocking me and saying how big my chin is and trying to make me look as stupid as possible to discredit me in the video I did saying that he's Francis Bacon. And this was back when I wasn't 100% sure. I was maybe they're reincarnated, but now I know they're not reincarnated. They just live. It's what the movie They Live is. they live. They just continue to live. So, long answer to a short question. Yeah, Sam Tripoli has mentioned my videos, and Robin Williams has mentioned my videos. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. I don't think so. Not offhand that I can think of. Yeah, David Icke, same dude as Alex Jones. Just he's the UK version of Alex Jones, giving you a lot of truth so he can gatekeep other things. That dude is, if there's anyone that's a reptilian, it's him. That dude, have you seen his like claw hand? Like something ain't right with that guy. And he is no good. Eddie Bravo, same Schillerson as Alex Jones, David Weiss, all these guys. All these, anyone that's like, I'll put it this way, anyone that's been in like truther movies, like the Hibbler movies, or the, like, oh, sure, Hibbler just happened to find the astronauts. I'm sure they didn't just show them where he was. Hibbler's is and even Hibbler's buddy, the Flat Earth Millionaires, in this new Amazon Prime chemtrails one. Like all those guys are so Masonic, it's ridiculous. Weiss, Hibbler, Whitsitt, Mark Sargent, yes, even Rob Skiba. All these guys were like, they were thrown to start the Flat Earth movement. Leilani, believe me, it is my absolute pleasure to call these guys out. They're worse than all of them because, like, at least some of these other people I expose, they don't claim to be like good people, truth telling. They're just dirty. They're just evil. But these freaking truther shills, there's no one worse than the truther shill, in my opinion. Yeah, I wonder why Agent D. I wonder why Aleister Crowley Rogan likes MMA boxing. It is strange, right? Like what? I don't know. It's weird. Like I did a video. It makes sense. Like Don King, the fight promoter, used to be MLK, Martin Luther King, and it makes so much sense there because they love their duality. So Don King promotes fights. He was most famously Mike Tyson's fight promoter. He promotes fights, and when he was Martin Luther King Jr., he was a pacifist. So he went from being a pacifist, a non-violent demonstrator, to a fight promoter. So I don't understand the Joe Rogan, Aleister Crowley thing. I don't know. It's a good question. It's a great question. Maybe he just isn't, like, same thing with Tom Brady, though, like maybe it's just an interest and a genuine interest of these guys, these fallen angels, these demons, these Nephilim, these vampires. I don't know. Like, I wish I could tell you. I do think the video I did on Keith Richards being Machine Gun Kelly was pretty good evidence that maybe they're not the fallen angels, but the fallen angels' children. I feel like I tied that together pretty well, where he's like, who's my father? My mother has some explaining to do. Like, that sounds an awful lot like the Nephilim story. But I mentioned Tom Brady. Larry Hagman, the guy who Tom Brady used to play, the character he used to be, was on Bewitched and the show Dallas. And maybe Tom Brady's just like genuinely guy interested in football, and maybe they have some freedom to go into an avenue if they want, whether it's music or sports, because sports is infiltrated by these vampires, obviously, now that we know Brady is. But maybe they have some leeway to go in a direction they want with that stuff. Cyndi Lauper, Christina Aguilera. I think someone put that in my Facebook subscriber area. And guys, I know this is YouTube, but if you ever consider subscribing, don't do it on YouTube. I love YouTube, but there's no social area. Facebook has an amazing subscriber area with like a group posting area where we're always active and commenting and just communicating back and forth. Erica Kirk is Tiffany and Berthies. No, if you haven't seen my video, Erica Kirk is 1,000% Anna Duggar right now because Josh Duggar from whatever 19 Kids and Counting is JD Vance. That's one of my videos where it's hard to deny. So JD Vance is Josh Duggar, and I think Erica Kirk has been played by one or two or three or four different people, but I think those are characters, and now I think Anna Duggar is going to take over that role permanently because that's what happens is like they have people in prosthetics or masks or shape shifting, I don't know, whatever it is, they will have intermediary people play roles until they have a permanent fixture. Like a great example of this is Candace Owens. I think there was a real Candace Owens, and then I don't think they take them out. I think Candace Owens probably went through the degrees of masonry and ended up somewhere higher, and she's playing something else. And while she became not Candace Owens, Halle Berry maybe took over the role. And now I think the permanent role is, and I did a video, is Lisa Left Eye Lopez. I think that's another impossible one to deny. No, Jonathan, I am not your favorite. I might be the most sane person you know, honestly. I'm not crazy at all. I mean, I'm crazy for other reasons, like not giving a crap about, you know, doing this, not worrying about it. But as far as the information I provide, I think I might be the most sane person. I might see reality clearer than all of us. And like, I don't mean, I shouldn't say all of us, but like, if you're calling me crazy, I think it's the opposite. I'm quite sane. Like I said, I'm crazy for other reasons, but not the information I provide. And I mean no arrogance, guys. Like I don't think I'm special or anything like that. I just think I have a cool gift that I figured out how to use. But we all have gifts. Wayne Gretzky looks like Princess Diana. Yeah, maybe an offspring. Maybe an offspring. Because I'm very certain that Melania is Diana. Eminem, I think, is moved on and in a new role. I don't think that's original Eminem. Imagine getting a maintenance job at Facebook. Then you could turn off all the water that cools the computers. That is a strange comment, my friend. I appreciate it, though. Let's see. You know what? So Mr. Beast keeps coming up, and I'm going to have to find out. Someone just posted on, I wish I could like swap over to my Facebook area, but someone just posted who they think he is now, but I never can remember. Oh, wait, maybe is Mark David? Oh, that's the guy I'm looking for, maybe. Is Mark David Chapman the guy that was like previously you're saying would be Mr. Beast? And maybe he spent time in jail? I think that's the guy I've been looking for. I'm going to screenshot that. Yeah, so that came across my feed or someone sent it to me. And I was like, that's it. And then I lost it and I could never remember that name, Mark David Chapman. Yeah, I think for sure that is. Maybe I need to look into that and doing a video on that. Agent D, I did a video on Justin Bieber being the Weeknd, but I think it was intertwined with another video. It wasn't a standalone. It may have been with I'm trying to remember. I can't remember, but I've made mention to it for sure, but I haven't done a standalone video. I probably won't if I'm being honest. Is it Torrentino or Torrentillo? My eyes, I stared at this phone too long. So I've done a Tupac video. I proved that Tupac is Khalil the MC. So he's also, it's probably the same guy that's on YouTube because he's on TikTok. That's where I saw him, was on TikTok. But yeah, that dude is, if it's the same guy, if it's Khalil the MC, who was on Jurassic 5, that dude is Tupac, 100%. I did the whole facial marking things, and I don't know if you guys saw my video today, because I've been getting people lately that have said, well, why don't you find like factual things? I'm like, there's nothing more factual than finding facial markings. And in the video I did today of George Clooney and Cary Grant, like, I show that the odds of someone having the same 5 facial markings and looking similar is 1 in trillions. So like, I'm providing factual information. Some people just don't register at that, because it's like, you can see someone have the same 5 markings, and you're like, so what? People have facial markings. Like, no, that's actual proof. That's actual evidence. John, can I give you? John wants to know my thoughts on the North Pole and why people don't go there. I have a few thoughts on that. So, one, if you don't know, and I've done videos about this, but not for a long time. This was like 2 years ago. But most people, I didn't know about it. There's something called the dew line, DEW. It's the, what is it? Give me 1 second. Distant early warning line. So it's the dew line, distant early warning line. And they said they created it during the Cold Wars to know if like Russia was coming across the North Pole. But in my opinion, and it's literally, if you look it up, called the dew line, it's like a circle around that geographical area. I literally think it's to know if people are going into the center, not going across it. And I think there's a few reasons. One, I think the tree of life is there, but I don't think it's the tree anymore. I think it's a giant magnetic mountain, and it's what all our compasses point at. It's like the only way a compass works is there's something very magnetic at the center of our realm, and I think it was the tree of life. But not only that, and one, maybe if it was the tree of life, maybe there's all sorts of like energy coming off from that still, and that's all the aurora borealis is. Could also be like God's throne. It's God's throne's described as having those colors, those green emerald colors. But I also think there's a chance that the Messiah, whether you call him Jesus, whether you call him Yeshua, whether you call him, Yahusha, whatever your take on the Savior is, the Messiah, I think there's a chance he's there with the camp of the saints in their heavenly bodies, and they're literally chilling there until this little season of Satan is over, and they don't want people to go find that. They don't want people to go, the whole world would go there if they figured out that the camp of the saints was there. So now that's speculation. I can't prove that. I think it's provable that there is something giant and magnetic coming out of it. It's been called Mount Meru, Mount Zion. So those are my thoughts. Unless I take a plane and fly there myself, I can't prove it. But those are my thoughts. Yeah, exactly. The Rupus Nigra. Exactly. That's another name for it. So Mount Meru, Rupus Nigra, Mount Zion. A lot of different names. Yeah, I truly think that was the tree of life, and it went up into the firmament. Maybe even went up higher. Maybe it was there before there was a firmament. Because I'm a big believer, and I do think there's biblical scripture to back this up, that the time of creation was renewing the earth. It wasn't the first formation of the earth. I think it was renewing an earth that was maybe decimated before humans came. And I mean, like, even, I truly think the Bible isn't the story of all that has ever been. I think it's the story of the earth we are living in now. There's even scripture that says, go forth, I don't know if it was to Adam or Noah, probably to Noah, and repopulate, or no, it would have been to Adam, because Noah would have repopulated, but I think to Adam, it's go repopulate the earth. How can you repopulate something that was never populated? So I think there was a time before the Bible, in my opinion, and maybe without the firmament. And part of me thinks that too because of the giant 200-mile long dragons I have found. I mean, there are hundreds of mile beings that existed here. If you've never seen my Anubis video, go look up my Anubis video. Anubis is literally in Egypt as a giant, several 100-mile long. You can see its outline. You can see it in Google Earth. You can see it in all the different maps. That's another one. So I think I did an Anubis video on top of proving that dog-headed beings actually existed. They're not just, the hieroglyphs aren't fake. Dog-headed beings existed. One of them was hundreds of miles tall. Leilani, by the way, I love your name. I think I taught a student named Leilani. She was a nice young lady. Hawaiian descent. But I was going to say, I don't know who Russ Ditzler is. Dizzler. So I apologize. Let's see. What else, guys? I'm going to hang out maybe another 20 minutes, half hour. Let's see. Can you repost the video or tell me the video that has you showing the sun with a solar filter on it? It shows the layer of the firmament because YouTube took it down. Oh, interesting. I know I do it in... So one of my favorite videos I've ever done is... What's up, Jason? One of my favorite... Hey, John. My friend John, what's going on? One of my favorite videos I've ever done, I start by saying, heaven is real. So I think if you just literally type in... I think I start by saying, I did it. What's that, you ask? I proved heaven is real. I did it. That's what it is. I'm sorry, I'm just like trying to have like a mental memory of my video. I did it. What's that, you ask? I proved heaven is real. That's the video that I've done. I know what you're talking about with the solar filter. That's been in a few videos. Oh, it's also in a more recent one I did with rainbows. Probably only a month ago. So even if you go to any of my other feeds, my TikTok, YouTube, or we're on YouTube, my TikTok, my Facebook, Instagram, you should be able to find it. I haven't done too many flat Earth videos lately, but it's one of my more recent ones that has the solar filter with the layers that you can literally, and guys, for any of you that haven't seen this, you need to go find this video too. So you can, during the solar eclipse, because the sun's dimmer and being eclipsed, many people, including myself, captured you being able to see the sun in the layers of the firmament. So the sun we see isn't a solid object. It's like a rainbow. It's like, imagine I have a glass paperweight, and I shine my iPhone light in it. So the iPhone light's here, but then if you look, you see like what looks exactly like a sun in the paperweight. But we know that light isn't the source. It's just the projection from the source. That's what we see. The sun we see isn't a physical object. It's literally a projection from the source in the firmament. And during the eclipse, I kid you not, dozens of people sent me videos, and I saw it in my own backyard. Captured it in my own backyard. You can see the sun and the sun and the sun through the layers of the firmament. The firmament is 1,000% real. 1,000%. And there's layers of it, just like the Bible talks about. Truth hurts. Couldn't agree more, my friend. I even somewhat hesitate to call myself a Christian because, not because of my beliefs, but because it associates myself with the Christian churches, and I am not for the church. The church is there's as much indoctrination and lies in the church as there is in the school system. So I'm a Bible believer, but I, like older Bibles, not newer Bibles, and um, ones that don't have the Book of Enoch and the Apocrypha taken out. Like those are where my beliefs are. So I think I don't know. I'm struggling lately to call myself a Christian, to be honest. Yeah, Miguel, exactly. Exactly. One for each. Roy G. Biv, how many colors are in the rainbow? Bible talks about 7 layers. There's red, orange, yellow, G, blue, indigo, violet. 7 colors of the rainbow for the 7 layers of the firmament. Exactly. Yeah. Ethiopian Bible is what I recommend. I don't have it. I want to get it, but it's what I recommend to people because it's got all the stuff in it. All right, guys. What else do we want to talk about? Anyone want to talk about John Bonham being freaking Al, Weird Al, or Tom Petty being Ed Helms, or Gavin Newsom being Matthew McConaughey? Hey, Fart Tree, my friend. You're welcome. I always appreciate when you're on here. I, I hadn't gone. I've been wanting to go live more frequently, and I just haven't done it as. The mood needs to hit me right. I need to be in. I'm fasting today, so I'm not eating today. I think almost every time I fast, I want to go live because my brain's just clear and cognitive. I'm functioning. I don't like coming on here feeling like slow and tired and not with my wits about me. I don't know who Henry Cavill is. He's got to be someone. Although there is like, it used to throw me off, but it doesn't anymore. If like, so let's say you see someone on TV like grow up through TV. Like Henry Cavill, I think was in some stuff when he was pretty young, but one, I think they've been using AI on us for a long time. They've had AI always. They've always had it. They just are giving it back to us. But I'm starting to think that they've been using AI to deceive us for dozens of years. And what made me start to really think that is Millie Bobby Brown, who plays Eleven from Stranger Things. I had this notion because I saw that she looks so much like a few different actresses. And I had this notion to look. And when I was watching Stranger Things with like a mind for it, I was watching her and then comparing her to the other younger people in the movie or in the show. She always looked a little smoother, a little more AI, a little more fake, and also like some of the like angles and things she has when she's talking to people. It just seems strange. I'm like, is Millie Bobby Brown 11 AI in Stranger Things the whole time, or at least when she's really young? I don't know. It makes me wonder. Can vampires walk during the daytime? Yeah, I think so. Well, I will give you firsthand experience, which is funny based on today because what are your thoughts on Northern Lights? Hey, Jeff, what's up, my friend? Oh, so glad to see you on here, Jeff. I just talked about I'll get to the Northern Lights in a minute, Jeff. Let me talk about this for a second. So I just posted on George Clooney being Cary Grant. Cary Grant would be like 100 and I don't remember what it said today. Maybe 121. I mean, that's pretty old, especially pretty old to be looking like George Clooney. Like, you know. So George is whatever he is, whether he's a vampire, whether he's an angel, a fallen angel, whether he is a Nephilim, like not a giant Nephilim, but a mix of a fallen angel and a human woman. I don't know. But he's whatever they are. And I do think there's potentially different classes of them. Like I do think maybe there's fallen angels and maybe there's their children. And then maybe even a class of people who can like the movies tell us, turn into a vampire. But what I'm getting at is I did the video on George Clooney today and Ocean's 12 part of that was filmed in my hometown. And it was when I was living in my hometown. And my wife Liza, huge George Clooney fan, always has been since the moment I've met her. So we went and watched some of this movie being filmed, and I was within 5 feet. It's funny. It was me and like 20 teeny boppers, and then Liza, because like we just happened to be by this area he was walking by, and they like surrounded him, and it was me and Liza and a bunch of like teenage girls. But what I'm getting at is I was within 5 feet of George, and it was broad daylight. He didn't have an umbrella over him or a hat. So yes, I think these beings, these entities, these vampires, these fallen angels, yes, I think they can be in the light. Now, the interesting thing about that is I just watched, because I've just been like going down the vampire pirate or rabbit hole, and Liza always liked the Twilight movies, and I never would watch them with her because I'm like, they're just stupid teenage love stories. But I decided to watch, and one thing they showed in that movie that kind of struck me as interesting was they can't go in the light in the movie. The vampires can't go in the light, not because like they'll burn, like in Interview with a Vampire, if they go in the light, they literally burn to ash. But in this movie, they couldn't go in the light because you could see the crystallization of their skin. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, probably on YouTube, you probably have, but there are people who have done like that. Like the one video that stands out to me is Laura, is it Laura or Jenna? One of the Bush daughters. There's a video of her being interviewed, and she literally like crystallizes, and like nothing else is glitching out around her, just her body. And they keep telling her like, do you think it's time to change? Like, have you changed things in your life? They're like, the newscasters are like giving her clues like, hey, you're morphing on live TV. And it almost looks like the T1000, like how he can like change shape. So I'm like, are they trying to tell us that like liquid crystallization, that's how they can like shapeshift a little bit in the movie? And I've seen it with George or Jenna Bush. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but long answer to a short question is they can be in the light, I think. Yeah, I just don't know. Maybe they have to wear thick layers of makeup to hide their crystalline body. I don't know. Jeff, my buddy Jeff is in here. Jeff is a great dude. Jeff, so the Northern Lights, when they were spreading like way down south a year ago, I thought the opposite of what a lot of truthers thought. So like, like normies were like, oh, it's the Northern Lights, it's so beautiful. And then truthers were like, it's HARP. And I'm like, well, I think they're trying to say, in my mind then, I was saying, well, I don't think it's HARP. I think they're actually putting forth false information that it's HARP to like maybe hide God's throne, God's signal, maybe hide flat earth, because like a lot of people know about HARP on like the base level of truth, but like a lot of people that know about HARP don't know about flat earth. So I'm like, maybe they're trying to push HARP and like the frequencies in the air and different things like that, so people don't realize that maybe they can just see the Northern Lights because it's just we're on a big flat realm, and maybe that stuff does spread all the way like to the south, to the outer edges of our pizza pie, for lack of a better thing. So I don't know, like, but I also do think they do things with frequencies and HARP. So I don't know. It's a good question, Jeff. I wish I had a better answer. But I do tend to lean towards maybe it is legit and they just use HARP as a cover for people to not figure out that we're on a big old enclosed flat surface and that God is real, because, if you look up what God's throne looked like, it's like the colors of HARP, or not the colors of HARP, the colors of the Northern Lights. David Icke's back on tour. People should go and boo that guy. Tennis, sorry, Taya Leone looks like Kate Spade. I can't place them both immediately, but hey guys, like, and I'm not saying this to like push my subscription, but if you like, if there's stuff and you're dying to show me or you're dying to share with other people, literally go subscribe on Facebook. Like, that's what the Facebook subscription has been become. It's become a posting area with no trolls where people are just saying that's how I figured out George Clooney is Cary Grant, because a subscriber in my Facebook area came on and was like, Tyler, what do you think of this one? I was like, yeah, I see it immediately. It was the same thing. Just another one I did the other day. Like, I used to do 1,000%. The content was all me and all like downloads from God as well. But it's not now. I have a subscriber area where they're always like throwing ideas, and like I try to still do everything myself because I don't want to steal other people's ideas. But they're like they're on fire in that area. People are amazing coming up with things that like I haven't even seen. It's actually that's how I figured out I was wrong about Tom Holland, or Chester Bennington being Tom Holland. Was a subscriber was like, have you ever noticed how much Tom Holland and Chester Bennington looked like? I was like, I do now. That was one of the first ones I ever realized I was actually, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I don't post things unless I'm pretty darn sure. So I do think I have a pretty high percentage of batting 900, 950. But that was one of the first ones I definitely had to admit I was wrong on. I thought Chester Bennington was Dallas Jenkins, the director of this show, The Chosen. But I was wrong. Tom Holland is Chester Bennington. Oh, Jason, yeah. My friend, that was good. I definitely, until you posted about that, I was thinking, and I still probably think it, but I was thinking Sam Rockwell. And thank you for the contribution, Jason. Jason posted an awesome thing with Sam Rockwell, and I thought Sam Rockwell was just a character, like kind of Benicio del Toro. I don't really think's a real person. He's just played by other actors. But I thought Sam Rockwell was just played by Edward Norton, and I do think Edward Norton still has played that role, but Sam Rockwell was definitely. Shoot, now I'm gonna forget who you said he was. I can picture him obviously perfectly. Um, who was he, my friend? Put it back up here, will you, so I can tell the people. I literally, Jason, when you have a second, write it in here. Why can't I think? Sam Rockwell was Jason. Hey, Katie. Yeah, Sid Vicious. Thanks, Katie. Katie's another amazing person in here that has clued me in. She's a Facebook subscriber and has clued me in on some pretty good ones. Pretty good ones for sure. I don't know if they're all dudes. I don't know if they're all dudes. And this is why I say it, because, and I could be wrong, but Robin Williams like went to the same middle school I went to, years apart. And Vince Vaughn went to the same high school I went to. And I'm not saying that they couldn't have, at a very young age, had some transition stuff going on, but there's a few out there that I don't. I don't think they're all. I don't think they're all trans. Not all. There's obviously a lot, but I don't think all. I don't think all. And I'll say this too: Robin Williams and Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn like grew up in my town, went through my high school, and Robin Williams I think moved at a young age, but like he went. I think he went to middle school with my mom maybe. Um, but what I would say for sure is their parents are probably in Masonic families. Like Vince Vaughn's parents were probably Masons, or his dad, at least, and Robin Williams probably the same thing. Because you don't just organically show up to Hollywood and become a star. Keira Knightley, a dude. Well, and so part of me also thinks this is a thing: is that if they are of, if they are fallen angels in general, I think angels in general might be androgynous. So that might be part of it. Like it might not be like that they switched at a young age, or It might just literally be androgynous fallen angels. Like that could be part of it. I don't know how many stars are on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That's a good question. Mick Jagger and Steven Tyler. I don't know. Well, if you haven't seen my Mick Jagger video, he's someone different than he used to be because he's definitely young blood. Like young Mick Jagger is young blood right now. But I don't know about Steve. I don't know if you're asking if they were women, Steven Tyler and Mick Jagger. Oh, that's what you're saying. If they're women. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, that could be for sure. That could be. I don't know for sure, but dude looks like a lady though, right? You would think it would almost be the other way. Dude looks like a lady. If Steven Tyler was actually a woman, he'd be like, lady looks like a dude. Excuse my terrible singing voice. Has Norm Macdonald been introduced back in? That's a great question. I saw Norm Macdonald at his Zanies in Vernon Hills, Illinois, very shortly before he died. So that would be a fun one to look into. I haven't looked into him. You're gonna make me blush, Jeff. Jeff said I'm his angel. Hopefully one of the good ones, not one of the fallen variety. Let's see. Agent D, you should check Donald Trump's ex-wife, Maria Naples, being dead actress Sharon Tate, who was murdered. Oh, interesting. I got to keep. Yeah, I'm screenshotting some things, guys, because you guys got some good stuff. I'm telling you guys. Again, I'm not trying to be a salesman here. If you like this stuff and you like communicating about it, go subscribe on my Facebook. It's $2.99, and like I don't care about the money. I just want people to be in the community because it's an amazing community of amazing people. A handful of them are in here. Jeff, you should go. I know you and I chat on Instagram, but Jeff, go to Facebook, my friend. It is awesome. Katie can attest to that, and I'm sure there are a few others in here that can too. Yeah, Fartree is talking about the anomalies of the international date lines and time zones and things. They're very interesting. Yeah, you would think, like time zones there should be 24 time zones, right? Like whatever, if it supposedly takes, the Earth 24 hours to do a full rotation, well, then there should be 24 equal time zones. They should divide it, whatever it is. There's not. There's like, I don't know if there's 32 or something. It's because their stupid map, they had to discombobulate by wrapping a flat map, a flat Earth around a globe. So yeah, there's not only for that reason, but I do think, and there's a few people on YouTube that have done videos on it. I think they're hiding land from us too. So it's like they have to like stretch it and make some disappear. Again, going back to what I was saying, maybe because that's where the camp of the saints is. Maybe they're hiding areas, that Jesus is hanging out. Hi, Shelley. Hi, sir. Flat earther. I mean, guys, if you're not a flat earther by this point, you got some research to do, my friends. I mean, it's like just no one believes in flat earth. If you're a flat earther, the earth is flat and stationary. Like it just becomes so obvious. It's like, I tell people this. When you get out of the globe lie, and there's 524 of you in here, I hope 524 of you know the earth is not a globe. Because when you actually get out of that and you look back at it, I've explained this to my wife a few times. It literally seems more ridiculous. You're like, how did I believe that? How did I believe people were standing upside down, like on a ball, upside down, where water can curve magically thousands of feet? That is more ridiculous than believing in Santa Claus, a jolly fat man in a red suit that would squeeze down my chimney. Like, it's literally way more ridiculous. It's possible for a fat guy to come down a chimney and leave presents and eat some cookies and drink some milk. That's physically possible. It's scientifically possible. That's possible with physics. A ball where water sticks to it upside down, where smoke doesn't stick to it. Water sticks, but smoke doesn't. Helium balloons rise, but water sticks, and ships stick, and it curves magically. That stuff's all, the only reason anyone thinks that is because we were brainwashed to think it. When you think logically and use your eyes and your senses, all that stuff is ridiculous. And I don't mean to get on my high horse. I just hope any of you in here that are not yet flat earthers, go, I've done 100 videos on flat earth. Go find them and watch them, or go look other places as well. Clarice, 28, 27 stars with 199 performers. There are that many stars. Holy cow, there are that many stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame with 199 performers with repeat recognition. Interesting that it's 199. That is a good find, my friend. I'm going to screenshot that one, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen how I've drawn comparison that they talk about 200 fallen angels, I think, in the Book of Enoch. There are close to 200 countries. There are close to 200 giant craters in the earth that are from asteroids. There's 200 seats in a very suspicious pyramid in Asatana, Afghanistan, or maybe it's in Turkmenistan. I don't remember. I think Afghanistan. And there's 199 performers. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Good find, Clarice. That's awesome. And thank you for the contribution. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that, Sherry. Thank you. Tom Brady was the 109th. Oh, dude. Tom Brady was 199th overall pick in the draft. We're just coming full circle here. That is amazing. Those are two amazing. You guys just crushed. Both of you need to go join my Facebook subscriber area. I'm telling you. Wow. Tom, I didn't even think about that. I knew that too. I didn't make that connection. That's awesome. I wish I had that for that video. That's a great connection. Yeah, Lizard, there's no real proof. And, like, I will take this from David Weiss, who I cannot stand, who is a liar and who I outed and who is a shill and who had a podcast with the Rothschild guy. But I will take this from him because it's true. He used to always say, there's tons of proof for flat Earth. And there's tons of proof that works on both a globe and a flat Earth. You can make it work on both. But there's nothing that only works on a globe. Nothing. And it's so true. And I hate that I'm using his stupid comparison, but I didn't want to quote it I didn't want someone knowing I was just ripping him off. But it's true. So I will give him credit for saying one true thing. Other than, flat Earth is true. I have not. People have prompted me to on my Facebook subscription area with Diane Keaton, but I haven't done it yet. How come no one says it's a sphere? It's not. The Earth could be a sphere. It could be. We're just not living on the outside of it. There's a firmament, so that's half a sphere. Maybe the firmament wraps all the way around. I don't know. Could be a sphere. We're just living on the inner plane of it. Yeah, half globe, exactly. Let's see, what else, guys? Hey, Rob Humphreys, my friend. Good to see you in here. Rob is a maniac at finding awesome giants and dragons in the in the maps. He's phenomenal at it. Rob, I'm telling you, you should start your own page and start posting that stuff. It would take off. Yeah, Katie. Snow globes are more snow domes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Why don't I follow JT follows JC? Or why don't I trust him? Because I see through him. I see through him. I have, once I, so, and I said this earlier, guys, a bunch of these Masonic truthers befriended me when I woke up. Because I did, like, I started posting on TikTok and got a pretty, I, I think being a teacher for 20 years and not having any fear of posting things, um, and just like, so my dog's barking at a dog on TV. Um, Sorry, distracted. Um, I started posting on TikTok and I got a pretty quick following. You know, like I said, I think just because I was a teacher for 20 years, I had an ability to present things and I grew a following pretty quick on TikTok, not the other platforms, but on TikTok. And like I quickly became befriended by some podcast hosts that were pretty big and some David Weiss's who, if you know Flat Earth, you know David Weiss. And I was just like, oh, this is cool. Like, I know who David Weiss is. It's cool that like he's reaching out to me and things. And just slowly, as I was continuing to wake up and continuing to grow my discernment and continuing to like literally trust in the Holy Spirit, and just kept things just kept clicking my spidey sense with these guys. Like, one of the first things that ever was always very confusing to me was like, at that point, Flat Earth was so censored on YouTube, but you could always find Sean Hibbler's movie Level with Me. It was like front and center all the time. I'm like, why isn't this censored? But everything else on YouTube with Flat Earth is. That was strange. And then I started thinking about like, well, how they find the astronauts that survived? How did they just happen to find them? And then I just like, the more and more I started looking for their symbolism and different things, and I saw right through it to the point where I exposed all of them. And in January or December last year, I don't remember which, I made videos on all of these Masonic shills in the Flat Earth community. And JT was a guy that was along that same lines. Like I was buddies with him longer because I wasn't seeing the deception in, and I am a big believer in the living in the short season, but just the more I saw of JT, the more he denied things like super simple fake deaths and celebrities that were so clearly other people, and I'd show him and he'd be like, I don't see it. And then just over and over again, just kept clicking and clicking. And then the final straw with him was like the Charlie Kirk stuff. Like if you've been awake for as long as he has and you think Charlie Kirk died and you don't know that's a false flag, you're lying. You're lying about it. Like, and I can understand if maybe not the first day or two, but then, I like kind of called him out on that. And then he made a video about me saying like anyone who thinks celebrities are faking their deaths and like wearing masks and coming back as other people, you're retarded. And he didn't say my name, but he made a video about that. And I had already blocked him, and he sent it to someone that I knew that knew I would see it, blah, blah, blah. Like him and Brian from Demon Racers, those dudes didn't just randomly make his movie. Like they made a movie, Ancient Angels. It's a great movie, but they didn't make that. They were hired. They're Masonic shills that were hired to make that. Just like Hibbler didn't just like, oh, he just made it and started his company. No, he made the Level with Me movies because he's a Masonic shill that was hired to do that. So JT is full of dog do, if you ask my opinion. And I'm more than happy if anyone would like to share my opinion of that with him because he knows it. So, sorry, I got off on a tangent because I can't stand liars, guys. I can't. That's why I do what I do. I want to expose every liar, especially liars presenting truth. Sorry, is it Me Seeks? Me Seeks, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. That is so kind of you. Misik says, love your work. Keep spreading the truth, my friend. Much love. Thank you so much. That was very kind of you. And guys, I don't, like I said this earlier, I don't come on here to get contributions or money or donations or anything like that. I literally should be paying you guys because this is like therapeutic to me to come on here and talk about it. I don't get to do this in my everyday life. It's part of why I make videos. Yeah, Agent D, I've seen that. I don't like to make videos other people have already done unless I feel like I can add something to it. And my buddy, was it my buddy Paulo? My buddy Paulo on TikTok, I think he made a really good one on that. And like, I don't like to step on people's toes, and I like to create things originally, get inspiration either from praying about it or just things I see and recognize in the moment. So I do agree with that probably, but I just have never done a video on it. Oh, we got an Elvis in the house. He says, forgive him, forgive yourself, move on. Maybe you're talking about JT. I don't know. I try to forgive people, guys. It's hard sometimes. I'm human, and I try to just be kind and respectful and love. But if I was just always kind and showed love and forgiveness all the time, well, I probably wouldn't make these videos, right? Because in every video I do, I'm attacking someone somehow, some way, not directly attacking them, but by exposing them and basically calling them liars. So unfortunately, it's part of the territory. Just 7-layer dip, delicious. That's a funny comment. Can I speak to synchronicities? What do you mean about it, Eric? Like specific ones I've had, or just in general what I think they are? So I get synchronicities all the time, and I'll just speak to this while maybe you're responding, Eric, but I get them with content so often it blows my mind. Yeah, Kathy, JT follows JC. He's a Mason for sure. He even talks about being a Mason. Like, I'm a Mason, but that's my job. I'm a stone layer. Well, I think it's got some double meaning. But anyway, back to synchronicities. Trying to think of like one of the first ones I had with content. I can remember the first two maybe. So I had this wild. I think it was after I realized that J-Lo played Selena. That Selena faked her death, became J-Lo, and then J-Lo, who is Selena, played Selena. That like gave me an insight to their madness and how they put things so in plain sight, and they do it to mock us. And once I knew that, I saw I saw Andy Warhol standing with his Marilyn Monroe painting, and I'm like, Andy Warhol just looks like a character, looks like someone that I should look into. And it was like right in front of me, Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe, Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe. And I like just had that. I'm like, did Marilyn Monroe fake her death and become Andy Warhol? So I started I just had this thought bubble starting to form. And like, as I'm having this thought bubble, I had put on probably 5 minutes prior a random Seinfeld episode, because sometimes I just have like background noise on a TV when I'm doing research or I'm like responding to subscribers on my phone. And there's like 180 Seinfeld episodes, and I just was like, found one. I was like, I haven't seen this one in a while. I'll put this one on. I just read the title. It had nothing to do with Marilyn Monroe. And as I had this thought bubble of Marilyn Monroe being Andy Warhol, they start talking about Marilyn Monroe on Seinfeld. Out of all 180 episodes, within the moment or two that I'm having this thought bubble that had happened, I'm like, thank you. And then everything I found just lined up. That was 100% Andy Warhol was Marilyn Monroe. I think the next time it happened, was when someone asked me, a subscriber asked me if I've ever researched Prince. And I was like, no. I was like, you know what? I haven't. Like, I'm sure Prince probably faked his death. And I wasn't a big Prince fan or anything, so I couldn't like picture Prince. So I looked up a picture of Prince. And like right away, I see the picture. I'm like, oh no, it wasn't a picture. I looked at the picture and didn't recognize it. And then I looked up a video, an interview with Prince. And as soon as I saw the interview, I'm like, that just reminds me of David Blaine in my fireplace. I have a fireplace that's like electric and it changes colors every once in a while. And like, as I said in my mind, like, Prince, I think that's David Blaine, like my fireplace like lit up purple. Like, and like there's no other color that resonates with Prince more than purple. Purple Rain. He wore purple all the time. And then I found David Blaine in purple. So like those type of things happen to me all the time, and it's so wild that it's like what's going on there? Is like our life just lined in this pattern that like synchronicities happen? Is God like literally controlling electronics? I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm not sure, Eric. I think it was Eric Hansen. I'm not sure if that's what you were getting at, Eric, or hopefully I answered that enough. Katie, my friend Katie says, Katie from Australia, whose voice I love because she sounds like Tia Claire Toomey to me, and I hope that's not like not racist, but Australianist. She says, I was a teacher of the bodies, now a teacher of the minds and spirit. Authentic, kind, glory to our Creator in heaven and flat earth. Thanks, Katie. I appreciate you so much. I really do. And sorry if you've messaged me in the DMs. I haven't been in my DMs the past few days. Yeah, if we had the They Live glasses. I'm telling you, I talked about them earlier. Do some fasting and some praying. Try to live as sinless as possible. Exercise, get in cold water, sun gaze, ground. You'll get the glasses on. You're not going to walk around well, I shouldn't say that. I swear I've started to be able to see demon faces. I really do. Uh, I've seen people driving in their car and their face will look distorted to me, and it's not my vision. So maybe doing everything I'm talking about will give you the ability to have the They Live glasses on. But seriously, like for a moment to talk, not conspiracy. If you're, and I shared this, if you're going down rabbit holes and you're not mentally, physically, and spiritually just armed to the teeth, man, spend some time doing it. Spend some time, like, make sure you're exercising. Make sure you're, like, getting in cold water resets your system. Get in cold water. Fast. Pray. Ground. Eat real food. Eat real food that's not coming from grocery stores. Try to go to farmers markets or, like, find local. But that stuff, doing those things, especially fasting and praying, those will arm you to the gills. And it's important, especially people like us who are awake and trying to figure out the lies of the world. I tell my wife all the time, like before I woke up, I really consider myself a mentally strong person. Like I taught mental toughness to my athletes. Like I was mentally tough. And I had a heck of a time waking up. A hell of a time. Like it was hard, and for me, I guess most of the difficulty of it wasn't like the lies, but it was the reactions from everyone around me, the isolation. That was the hardest, but like figuring out all the lies too was like a shock. Like sometimes I'm like, man, if it messed with me and I was as mentally tough as I thought I was, well, what's that doing to people that aren't mentally tough or, like physically tough? Or, for me, it was tough because I wasn't spiritually armed yet. Like I thought I was an evolved ape. So it wasn't until I put on the full armor of God that I really found my fearlessness. And before then too, I was getting attacked spiritually, like wicked sleep paralysis. Like my dreams were not dreams. I was like being taken to parallel, I don't want to say dimensions or whatnot, but I was getting some feminine, like wicked feminine attacks. And it wasn't until like I used the name of Jesus, got a Bible, put on the full armor of God, that stuff left me alone, and has since. Tweaking. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean is if I feel for some of you that woke up and you weren't in a mentally tough place. I do. Charlie Manson? Nah, he wasn't in jail all these years. I go back and forth with the serial killers. I'm starting to really think that Dahmer was just all fake. I'm really sure that Dahmer is the dude that played in the Dahmer movie on Netflix. Something Evans, not Chris Evans. That's Captain America, or Evan something, or Evans. Whoever played Dahmer in the Netflix movie, that's Jeffrey Dahmer. And there's someone sent me a crazy website that's basically it does what I do, and before I ever knew anyone else did that. It basically goes through the Jeffrey Dahmer victims with birthmarks and things and show that they're still alive. So I think the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff, total fake false flag. The John Wayne Gacy stuff, I don't know, because I do think John Wayne Gacy is Garth Brooks. And it's strange that Garth Brooks, there's a conspiracy about him being a serial killer. And I don't know. The thing that makes me wonder about that, though, is there were 33 boys killed, supposedly. It's an odd number. It's an odd number. So, I don't know. Now, I'm not saying there aren't serial killers and that people don't kill other people, but the ones that they sensationalize on TV, I mean, OJ, Nicole Brown Simpson didn't happen. That's all fake. If they can fake that and spend a year faking that court trial, unless it was AI, like I said, they have had AI for a long time. Maybe that whole court trial was AI. But if they can fake that for a year, they can fake anything. Yeah, that Chris Gaines album. That was I didn't post on that, but that part of me wonders if that was just supposed to be a Garth Brooks like alter ego that people didn't know about, but they saw through it so quickly. So then they were just like, oh, they were changing his image. That's one I wonder about. All right, guys, it is 8:07. I was going to say I was going to go till 8:10, but that's 3 minutes. So I'll go till 8:12. So we'll do a nice 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it a night. Tom Petty is Dwight Yoakam. Yeah. Tom Petty is definitely Ed Helms. That was a fun revelation the other day, and I said it at the very beginning of this. So maybe I'll talk about that for a second. Susie, thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. Hey, and my friend Everything Marty is back. Thank you, Marty. Thank you always. You're so kind. So I told the story in the very beginning of this. So sorry for people who are actually here in the very beginning. But Liza, my wife, we don't go out to eat a lot, but back in Illinois, we used to like a place. It's like a chain, and I try to not do a lot of chains anymore. But the Yard House, there's a Yard House in Florida, and we went, and they had music videos on in the background. And I've been looking for Tom Petty forever, but it was always pictures. I'd always look at picture and like try to get the good old noggin to facial recognize him, and nothing popped ever. And we're sitting there at the Yard House waiting for our food, and on comes a Tom Petty music video. And I'm just looking at him. And it was just, I'm just staring at his eyes. I'm like, I know those eyes. Whose eyes are those? And I had just watched The Hangover the week before. I'm like, that's freaking Stu from The Hangover. I know it. But I'm like sitting there with Liza, and she doesn't like when I like, especially when we're hanging out, that I like start going down. So I like made a mental note of it. But I'm like, I looked up a picture of Tom Petty real quick, and like they got this, like it's all here. Even though I saw it in the eyes, like they got like, it's like big teeth or something. But I was like, oh, that's him. That's definitely him. And then 5 minutes later, I don't remember if John Bonham and Led Zeppelin came on or if Weird Al came on, but one of them came on, and I just saw the mustache. And whichever one came on, I was like, I think it was John Bonham, and I was like, John Bonham has the exact same. There's like a space and the exact same, and like, yeah, that's kind of common, but I just like had this moment where I'm like, John Bonham and Weird Al have the same mustache. And like, again, I'm sitting there with Liza, so I just pull out my phone and I just text myself, John Bonham, Weird Al. And I forgot about it. And then I come home like a couple hours later and I start digging in. I'm like, oh yeah, that's him. And I was like, especially when I saw Weird Al got famous in 1980, the same year that John Bonham died, I was like, so those were really two fun revelations. Like, it's really fun to have those revelations when it just like hits you, and it's not like someone showing you or anything. And you're just like, that happens to me a lot. Like sometimes I even pray for it and it happens. Fasting and praying. Marnie, thank you again, my friend. You're like always just way too kind. All right, guys. I've got one more minute before I think I want to get out of here. Let me see if there's anything that I'm just dying to talk about real quick. Leilani, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, guys, I wish I went live more often. I just, like I said, I got to be in a fasted, good mindset for it, or just want some therapy. What do we want wife's opinion on? Liza doesn't like to give her opinion on a lot of this stuff because she doesn't agree with a lot. She agrees with a lot more now than she used to, but she's a work in progress. KJ, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. That was so kind of you. Super kind. Thank you. Let's see. Find Albert Pike. I would like to find Albert Pike. Maybe I'll put that on the list. Thank you, Arthur. Right back at you, my friend. Sincerely. Guys, like, if you're sitting here and you're watching me and you're not a troll, like, I have so much love for you, because it just means you are an open-minded, beautiful soul, you know, because if you can watch the things I talk about, then you are so far out of the matrix that it's just a beautiful thing to me. It's just like heartwarming. It could like literally bring tears to my eye that there are just, you know, like, we're not alone, guys. We're not alone. There's a lot of us out here, and sometimes as much as it feels lonely, we are not alone. Okay? Freaking look at, you're making me tear up a little bit. And I think I'm just going to go on that note, guys. It's just a nice way to end the live. I appreciate all the kind words and comments and support and appreciation more than you guys could ever know, like, truly. So, and just as a last word, like, if you're super into the stuff I talk about, especially if you want to show me things, right back at you, Katie. Go join the Facebook community. It's amazing. And not even because of me, because of everyone else. So I'm going to leave it on that note. Much love, guys. Hope you all have an awesome night, and maybe I'll do this again on Wednesday or Thursday. All right. Much love. Take care.